first thing that I should probably say is that Sue Haber has been acting as the town planner for the last month, but is no longer. She's taking time away from Weston, so we are, for the first time in the 17 years I have been on the planning board, without a planner. So we have to adjust accordingly. We're in the process of interviewing potential replacements for our planner. However, without a planner, we can't go forward with our hearings and meetings. We can have discussions, but we need to have the planner in place. So we'll have to put off, postpone until a later date, the meetings that we have scheduled for this meeting and for the next one. It's an unfortunate situation, but I'm hopeful that it will be resolved shortly. Having said that, opportunity for public comments. Anyone care to weigh in?
I would, Mr. Chairman, if I could speak to the limited site plan for 2 North Avenue.
All right.
We're not here to address the merits of that site plan. What I wanted to present to this board is the fact that my understanding is, and I'm Bob Dianisi, the attorney representing the proposed buyers of the property. I have with me Sally Andrea, who is one of the buyers, and the project engineer is Mike Myers, who I'm sure the board is familiar with, has been here several times. This limited site plan has been going on for some time, and I have the sense, after speaking with the town's consultants, that the goal line is within sight. We can actually almost feel the end zone on this. I've spoken with each and every one of the town's consultants, and but for the traffic study, which I understand is going to be wrapped up this Friday, all the consultants are willing to weigh in on the site plan, and I won't speak for them, but my comment to you is that they're ready to give clean letters or to address any issues that the board might have. I think they're ready to weigh in on that. I did speak with Sue Haber this week, and I understand that she is not going to be available to act as town planner for the month of April. I'm not sure after that, but for the month of April, she's not going to be present to do that. And her participation in this site plan has been limited to just reviewing correspondence. She hasn't weighed in professionally on the plan, but my understanding is that the consultants who have been hired by the town to weigh in have received all the information that was requested of them, and they're ready to deliver a response. Now, Ms. Adelad, I've worked with this board before in years past. I'm familiar with the certificate of action that the board issues with respect to limited site plans, and my understanding is that it has always been traditionally this board's, I would say, delegation of the preparation of the certificate of action to the town plan to prepare that. The situation with the buyer is such, and I wouldn't be here tonight to ask any special favors. Mr. Adelad, I had a brief conversation with you on the phone a week and a half or so ago, and we're at the point right now where this has been going on for some time. The septic plan was approved in November, and frankly, we're running out of time with the seller, and I don't think we're going to get any more extensions beyond April 30th. In addition to that, this is Andrea's mortgage company out in Minnesota, the bank that funds a lot of these Goddard schools. It looks like we may be wearing thin on our mortgage commitment as well beyond April 30th. So I'm here tonight to implore this board, if they could act at the next regularly scheduled meeting, to conduct a meeting with the consultants present, or at least with correspondence with the consultants, to weigh in on it, to close the meeting, and to get some kind of a representation from this board that a certificate of action was issued.
You need a special permit.
Required?
You need a special permit.
Would that be in the form of a certificate of action from the board?
That would be in the form of a special permit decision. It's not just a certificate of action from the site plan approval. You need a special permit.
And that would be from this board?
Yep. That's a piece I don't know if you knew about.
Well, like I say, I'm kind of a Johnny-come-lately into the process right now, but I certainly can get brought up to speed on Mr. Adelad very quickly.
Well, your subject. This was something that the planner communicated to your engineer. that you're over the earth movement trigger for that necessitates a special permit. So it's special permit and the traffic impact. Those are the issues. The issue that I have is it's difficult for us to make exceptions. Everyone that's petitioning the planning board for review and approval, everyone has their own priorities in pressures. And it's difficult to make an exception in one case and then tell everybody else to get in the back of the line. That's the problem that we have. If we make an exception in one case, why wouldn't we make an exception for other people? And we can't do it without the planner present. It's just not possible. For one thing, we can't put together the decision. The decision writer is the planner. So we can have the hearing, but that doesn't mean we're going to be ready to vote on a decision by the end of April. I mean, even if we had the hearing, we won't have a decision in place that we could vote on. None of us can write the decision. It has to be written by the town planner.
Well, to answer the first part of your question, it looks like we're queued up to be the next.
Yes, you're queued
plan.
up to be the next. I think you're on for May the 6th, and hopefully by May the 6th we'll have a planner in place, and in the planner's position who would be able to pick up the planner's duties and carry this through. We're in a pickle. The previous planner bailed on us, and we're struggling to get through it as best we can. I mean, we're a volunteer board, and we depend on the staff to help us with the technical pieces that need to be put in place. That's the problem that we have, and we may or may not grant the special permit, in which case your client is out of luck anyway. I mean, we haven't actually had the special permit hearing yet. We haven't received any testimony. I know I have good reason to believe that there's concern on the part of the neighbors in the area about the fill that's coming out on the site. So I don't expect that's going to be an absolutely ripple-free process. It may actually go more than one hearing. I don't know. I can't predict. But I wouldn't be, even if we could make an exception of you, it would be hard for me to say, look, we'll open everything, we'll finish everything, and we'll close on April the 15th. I can't make you that promise.
No, I understand. And no promises can be made. I've spent years on a planning board myself, so I know how the process works. But I've spoken with John about that issue, and I'm relatively safe to say that I think if there are going to be ripples, I think there are answers for those ripples, and I think we'll be able to overcome those.
Possibly, I can't say. We haven't had the hearing yet.
I understand. All the more reason, Mr. Lott, to have the process continue to evolve, if you will. I think May 6th, honestly, is. I don't need to tell you. I mean, there's jobs at stake. There's contractors who've been hired. There's architects who have been hired.
Every applicant is going to tell us that exact same story. We didn't create this problem. We didn't. We're doing our best to cope with it as best we can, but we again, even if we put you at the head of the line, held the hearings on the 15th, we can't. I can't tell you when the decision would be ready to go.
And there'll be no guarantees. I understand that, but at least if we're able to conduct the public hearing on that day, to weigh any testimony, if that be the case, or at least to get the consultants in here, so that the board can hear what the consultants have to say. There's been so much work done behind the scenes on this, as you can well imagine. And we're here now asking for the board to help us out in this particular case. I know it's not the board's fault, frankly, I don't ever recall any town being without a town planner for its planning board purposes. I've never heard of it before. There's usually someone to pick up the, I don't know if the relation.
Unfortunately, this is sort of the situation that we're in, so, I mean, maybe it'd be worthwhile to sort of think, what can be done during this unfortunate interim of delay? And I don't know anything about your situation, obviously, if there's a lot of dirt, a lot of fill in and out, if there's concerns with neighbors and stuff, making use of this time to bring neighbors on up to speed so that they know what you're talking about, maybe hear from them some ideas about what they want to do. Use this time at least constructively that way, so that when you do come in for a hearing, you've done the best you can in terms of a presentation.
Here's a
and all of
thought.
that.
Go back and see if you can get the amount of fill brought in under the trigger, so you don't need the special permit for the earth movement.
Have we done that, Mike? I think we have, haven't we?
John has the study.
John has the study, and I think he's
I
saying
believe
it's
it's less than 1,000 yards, and he's approved it. He's had it for a while.
Who's
I can
John?
John Fields.
Oh, I don't know. We don't know anything.
Yeah. As I said, there's a
Then
lot of
then
activity.
that's
He's
good
who
for
I was
us.
steered to.
Then that's a good
to
idea.
go through
in terms
this.
of going
This
toward
is-
that.
We need to have that confirmed by our own engineer, our own civil engineer.
That would be,
Mr. Fields?
That's Dave Conway.
Oh, Dave's on board with that as well.
well,
Well, I don't know. I don't know that.
I can confirm with
I spoke with him today. I spoke with him Friday.
But that'll make it simpler, at the hearing, is what it will do. And that's good, okay? But again, I mean, you've got extra time, use them to get things as tied up and neat and, as possible. Use that time to get your neighbors on board, and all of that as best you can. And I think that's the best that we can offer.
I think the neighbor's been contacted. I do think this is all bundled up. It really is ready to go.
Well,
And
We've been in touch with Kim Turner, Dave Conway,
Mr. Michaud, the traffic
Mr. Michaud.
You're not going to
Mr.
have anything
Fields.
finished by the end of April, irrespective of whether we hold the meeting the 15th of April or not. It's not going to happen because we won't have a decision. So my suggestion is work hard on getting an extension because we're not going to be done by the end of April.
Mr. Chair, we're on our third extension now.
I'm just saying, we're not going to have a decision by the end of April.
blame us.
I hear you. Well, I wish I could.
No, I mean, really, we're very sorry about this, and we understand the inconvenience, we understand the business interruption that it causes. We're not, we're not taking this in a cavalier way. We really are sorry, but there's not a lot we can do.
In terms of eliminating risks, if the board were to conduct a hearing on the 15th, so we know exactly where the board feels, and I certainly would be able to gauge that by what happens at that hearing. I certainly would eliminate some risks on the part of the buyers and how they would exercise their options if need be.
We'll consider it, but I can't, I'm not optimistic. We'll talk about it, we'll discuss it among ourselves at the end of the meeting tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that. It's not often I come to the board with, with such a story.
It's not often when the board comes to you with such a story.
I suspect that we're going to hear more of these stories this evening, so, yeah,
Well,
it's
again,
unfortunate, I'm sorry.
Do you know of any other issues, just so that we know to tie everything up really, really well? We've worked with landscape, we've worked with hydrology, earth movement, and the traffic engineer. And so I just want to make sure that there
I
are
don't know
no
what-
other issues
I
that
don't know what our
you've
traffic-
heard of or know of.
I don't know what our traffic consultant's going to say. I don't, we don't have anything like a report from him, so I don't know.
if you had a town planner, the town planner would know on Friday, I believe, is when Mr. Michaud was going to be through with his analysis. So,
Right, the question was, do we know of anything that's not, any loose ends that aren't tied together? The only one I can think of right now is the traffic.
Which is not insignificant. I go on 117 every day. You know, if I leave the house at, you know, after 6:30, I'm waiting. I'm not gonna lie. You know. So that's a real problem. And it's not going to get better with development over in Waltham.
I guess the question,
Yes, there's a question in the back.
how come the traffic committee?
Could you just identify yourself?
I'm Peter Hill, the chair of the traffic and sidewalk committee. How come the traffic committee is not brought in on the traffic issues of the potential development?
We've been waiting for about 6 weeks for a traffic report. And apparently the draft has been finished. We haven't seen it ourselves. We don't know what the report says or what the planning board's traffic consultant will say about the report. He, by the way, is the same consultant that your committee uses, so.
So will it be brought forward to our committee?
Yeah, well, what I would suggest is that when we have the hearing on the site plan review, that you come to the hearing. If we had a planner would have given you the report. We don't have one.
Okay.
All right, so don't hold us to, you know.
I just want to make sure that we're in the loop, that's all.
Yes, I'll make sure, we'll put period in the minutes that you guys are notified of when the hearing date will be when we look at the traffic report. I'm hoping we'll have a planner pretty soon.
Can we ask Michelle to go ahead and send them a copy?
Sure.
Is that any problem with that?
No.
Even before the hearing, because you are the town committee.
Sure, it's a public document.
Sure.
We don't even know about it, but yeah.
All right. Got that one?
We appreciate it, every consideration you give us on that 15th tax day.
We'll discuss it. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments?